Welcome to the Gas Podcast.
Take 17.
Welcome to the Gas Podcast with Gerard, Simon and Alan. This is our second podcast tonight. Our first one went pretty well, did it not?
I did,
Yeah.
Well, didn't see any good comments so
we're always going to say it went well because
that's us.
we're super duper, you know. That's us, yes. So.
For anybody that's watching, automatically they're going to notice that I don't have a microphone because I forgot my microphone, so I apologise.
For fuck's sake, he's a sound man, too.
I know.
And he forgot his microphone.
I'm too busy worrying about
Well, how many
bringing all
times-
your things.
How many times have you ever forgot your SD card?
I've done that all the time. I've done that a few times.
Yes.
And the drone.
Guilty as
On the
charged.
drone. I've drove 2.5 hours to get here and I have no SD card. I've done that before.
That is a pain, you know.
So how'd you get on during the week, guys? Getting busy?
Good. I had a wee engagement shoot last Sunday.
Well, you've had actual work shoots.
Mm-hmm.
So you haven't had any work shoots. Were you in a work shoot?
I've had 2 commercial shoots.
Have you?
Actually, I think, I had a turkey shoot, wasn't it?
Turkey
I
family
seen
shoot.
that. What was that? You were on an actual turkey farm?
Yeah, it was. I'm not joking. You're talking about like very, very random, bizarre. I mean, this guy, he's got a turkey farm and he wanted just some for posters and stuff. But ironically, he had actually invited 2 butchers and their families. So,
You getting the free turkey area?
well, I don't know. I didn't get no free turkeys, no. You know. So, Michael, if you're listening now, you know, hint.
Free turkey. 3 free turkeys.
There was actually news, and it actually was like Dunree Fort. I never knew there was a turkey farm there. So I got on, and it was a new experience, and they're quite aggressive. The way that the turkeys, there was a poor census and the sheds, and of course I had the off-camera flash, the 8200 with the softbox on, and I was standing over here, and I took a tumble. So wiping bird shit, literally turkey shit off
Your lens?
yeah.
The
No,
softbox?
the softbox was different, like, you know, it was definitely very soft. So
That's what she said.
that was that.
I didn't have
And damn, it was grand. It was really different. It was good crack, you know, it was good. And then I just had an orange sweater shot and Karen Dunlop was doing some product shots for them, which was great crack. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was paid work too, so there's not much about it at the minute.
I have a shoot on Saturday morning, Benone Beach, swimmer on the beach, part of some advert for the nerve centre or something.
Class.
Lovely.
But that's my second shoot in a month. That's how slow things are.
Oh dear. Well, the Air Centre, who's doing that, or who commissioned that?
A guy called Johnny Petto or John Petto. He does a lot of documentary work from the nerve centre.
Right.
And they're doing some sort of it's called, I think the premise of the advert is like invest in Ireland. So they're talking about businesses that were foreign that's come here and set up shop. We did a wee couple of shots. Was it last weekend or 2 weekends ago? Or is it the beach there?
That's right. I was asking you. Right.
Tulla Bay that was. But I think it's like must be a cross border initiative like
Is this drone stuff then?
drone stuff.
Yeah.
But no proper filming or
The forecast's actually alright for the weekend.
it's supposed to be clear now from tomorrow onwards pretty much. Which is good.
When's your next wedding?
It was December 21st, but they're saying they're going to cancel it. They haven't officially cancelled it yet, but they will.
I have one on Saturday, 2 weeks. It was always going to be a small wedding.
But it's a proper small wedding now. Was it?
No, it was always going to be. It was always less than that. It was always going to be a
okay.
proper small wedding. So
That's not bad then. That's good.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that now.
What about you? Have you been shooting?
I had a wee engagement shoot last Sunday. It was lovely.
Very nice.
Up the beach hill.
When's that
seen the
wedding?
photos? They were very nice.
Thank you.
When's that wedding?
That wedding is they haven't they haven't made a date yet.
Oh, they not?
But
Alright.
They got their engagement shoot done.
they got their engagement shoot.
It's official now. You can't back out if there's an engagement shoot. That was her reasoning behind that, wasn't it?
Probably.
I got engagement photos, so it has to be real now. Stand up to the family.
I have a wedding now on Saturday too, so I'm looking forward to that.
Very good.
It's going to be small, 25.
So
Yeah.
we were talking this podcast. We were going to the Gear Acquisition Syndrome podcast.
Ka-ching. Yeah.
So we may as well talk about gear then. As photographers and as a videographer, the main thing is the same, the camera, but everything else kind of differs. Like we rely heavily on audio and stuff. You guys are more basically just.
With you setting up tonight, watching you set up tonight, it's like 10 times more complicated than photography.
It's just one audio recorder, like, but we do tend to have to always capture audio because audio is 90% of the video. Like,
but you know, saying that, like for this podcast, Alan and I, we had to buy proper microphones, and you have all the gear anyway. But I noticed, the first thing I noticed from our first podcast was the sound, and we're doing that. We never said, of course, on film at the moment. That sort of sounds really freaking me out. But I mean, I was really impressed by what it was. It sounded like a really funky, bassy sound. Now I know from if you're trying to capture that on camera. Just never wouldn't have worked at all. So I mean, the investment for me was worth just that sound. I know that may sound really nerdy.
The very first thing I sent Gerard, like probably a 15-second clip from my phone on a laptop, and he was like, "That sound," and then like shiny eyes emojis, and I was like, "This man's never heard audio before."
But you know, I have listened to all our stuff since starting this course, you know, and you hear this very echoey, dull, sort of dumbed out sound. I don't know if that's the right description for it, but
no pressure for today's podcast then.
No,
it's going to sound like a kitchen.
Yeah, that was just like, it actually sounded, well, I suppose it is very professional, very sexy. It does actually. But
if you don't mind blowing your own trumpet.
No, but I mean, I did actually. I thought, geez, that sounds good. And the people I was on the class with, they were all really impressed. They were, good sound there.
Sexy sound with a Derry accent just doesn't go well.
I mean, the women love a Derry accent. Like, you know.
Alan shouted, just as he shouted sexy sound, he needed the microphone, and it started going in my ears.
So
audio is very important. See, whenever you're doing video, audio is kind of the last thing you think about, but it's actually the most important for video. If you watch something, if you watch a video or something, the first thing you'll pick up on is the audio, even if you don't realise it. Because if the audio is really bad, you'll probably turn off after like 30 seconds and go, I can't watch that. But if you have great audio and your visuals aren't great, people will still stick around and watch it.
It's strange, you know, I've anything, even ordinary television, a movie on Netflix or Amazon or something like that, I'm listening to the sound, and you know, you hear it sort of a build up there, and the crescendo, boom, and I was like, well, all right. And actually, I see it, stroke hear it, in a different light.
Proper audio designers, like, they tell the story using sound, like, it's unbelievable.
And one of the guys in the class, he actually shared the Hans Zimmer masterclass, which I have to be honest, you will like. And like as I say, I mean,
you'll have to forward me that one.
Photography is my thing, and it always will be as a video. But I mean, I'm really enjoying it. I mean, the man is a legend.
See, since you have taken up photography and videography, do you watch movies differently?
Kira can't watch a film with me because I never watch a film and just sit and watch a film. I'll always pick it apart and be like, oh, did you see how he did that? And oh, do you notice that the reason the camera's not on her right now? And she'll be like, Simon, can you just shut the fuck up now and watch a film?
And then I'm sitting going, I wonder how they let that. And I would pause a movie and I go, and you get these filthy looks, you know, what the fuck are you doing? Can we watch it? So I know what you mean. Are you the same?
Yep.
You are.
I would look at the colour toning on the videos.
Definitely, it's very, very moody, and we go through a lot of that. Actually.
And then your depth of field as well. You would notice that big.
That's a very like it's a strange thing, depth of field. If you watch Hollywood movies, like a proper Hollywood film that's shot on a cinema camera, there's not much depth of field. You'll always be able to see the background. You'll always be able to see the mountains. You can see everything. But for some reason, people when they first get on the video, be like, "Oh, we'll shoot that at 1.8 and blur out the background."
Yeah.
But like, you don't see that in Hollywood unless it's for a specific reason. Like they want you to focus on the lead character.
That single person.
And they're like, "This is who we need you to focus on right now."
I think that's where like you and I were chatting there about how they've done the lighting correctly.
Yeah.
And just the set up, the sound, and the scene has been set for that. Because I know when I was first doing a bit of video, everything was at 1.8 or 55 lens. But now, right, okay, is my light right?
Open it up.
And that's it. You know,
And it's a real thing. People always talk about this cinematic look, like and it's really hard to put your finger on. But that's kind of the difference between an amateur and like a proper video guy. Is like they'll go, we don't need shallow depth of field right now. Shoot that at f8 because we want everything in.
Yeah.
And then it's the lighting that sets it. So you have your light round, your background, light set, your characters set. But it's such a weird thing because people talk about the bokeh all the time. Bokeh, that's gorgeous. I love bokeh on photographs.
Yeah.
But see, when I'm watching something and I can't see anything but the character that's talking, I'm like, I kind of want to get a grasp of the whole scene, like, you know.
Well, I like some of the bokeh shots on photography for stills too, and some of them are fantastic. Obviously, if you're doing landscapes, it's totally irrelevant. But for family shots and that, you know, for particularly even headshots or just individual shots, a nice depth of field, depth of field is, it's hard to beat now, you know.
No, it's completely different as well, like for weddings, because like if you're shooting video at a wedding, you kind of want a bit of depth of field because the background isn't, you don't have any control over what's happening. You don't really want to see the plain wall behind them. You don't really want to see the ugly curtains.
But surely, if you're doing a wedding, well, I'm on a bit inside. You're going to be 2.8 or less anyway.
Well, depending on the camera. The Sony's, no digs at Canon users. You can bump the ISO. The video series of Sony's, the A7S's, you can shoot 10, 20,000 ISO and have no grain, like. So.
Yeah.
But,
Getting back to...
Yeah, we were done with that.
We always do that.
Imagine that, like, you know. Well, I think
It's always you kicks it off.
Oh, I think that way. I think I was started off just saying I'm a Sony user, and there are obviously.
My name's Alan. I'm a Canon user.
Hi. I've been a Canon user for 5 years, like for 5 years now.
Yeah. But when I was in retail, there's a Sony shop across the street from us, so we just bartered stuff. You know, they got shoes, I got gear, so that's how I.
You swapped a pair of shoes for a Sony camera?
Must have been dear shoes.
Yeah, well, sometimes it added up now, I'm telling you. There's two of them, you see.
So did you
Two pairs
start
of
on
shoes?
Sony then?
Well, over this last
You started off in the best thing
years,
here.
you know.
Did you not?
I started off with, when I started with Sony, it was a bridge camera I had, which is a very, very good camera for somebody starting off. And then I bought, it was an A7 II, great camera too, but the one thing that really did pain me in that one was there was only one SD slot, and the batteries were crap.
What's wrong with one SD slot?
Just to have a backup.
I think for weddings, see, my...
No, boys. I have the ELSR.
That's
Just one card slot.
You can't just have to go, hopefully none happens to that card.
Well, it's just, thank God it's never happened, but just, you never know.
It is rare. It is rare for
It is rare, but it can
to
happen.
feel, but it has happened to people like
But
that.
at the same time, you could trip over a curb.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Of course. You know what I mean?
And also, when I moved up to the A7 III A7 III also was the battery power. It's great, you know. And also, I think, you know, you and I, Alan are more in the stills, whereas you're video. And whereas you're on the, don't know if anyone can see this gear, and lenses are extremely important. I mean, my favourite lens would be the 85 1.4.
That segues into the perfect opportunity for one of the questions we got on Facebook.
Yeah, what was that question?
It was... Hold on, I check. I have notes this week because last week I was a complete and utter mess.
Right, we're going to need 4 cameras next week so we can get a wide of the whole thing. Just so we can see the print.
I don't find it now.
I gotta say, my favourite lens is also the 85.
Yeah.
I use the 85, but I use the video lens. You know, it has the declicked aperture and iris. I don't use, you will use probably a photography style, that style of lens.
No, I have the wee one where you can, that's a video lens that you can rotate the...
Aye, but it's not. It wouldn't be a declicked one. It wouldn't. You wouldn't have separate. You wouldn't have separate aperture and focus on it.
Yeah.
Like if you look at that lens on that camera there, it's like a. It's called a VSLR.
Yeah.
The reason for that is it has wee teeth on it. So when you're having that on a gimbal, you can mount a focus pull, a wireless machine that'll just clip onto the teeth. So you can have a dedicated focus puller to turn the lens.
So you can change the aperture without adjusting your focus.
Yeah. So do you see on your camera now, if you were to shoot video and you were to change your aperture,
too, but I think it is a video lens, you know.
see when you change your aperture, you see when you're on your screen, if you were to change it while it's recording, you would see the noticeable click in colour.
Right.
That's because your lens isn't declicked, whereas in a video lens, I can change my aperture from 1.2 right up to T10.
Is that 1.2 lens?
And you wouldn't notice it. You would only just see it getting brighter, but you wouldn't notice like a jump in picture.
Oh, okay, right. Well, what's that like for stills in that lens?
Very good, but it's manual, like, so you'd have to
right.
nail focus, like.
One of my best lenses I started off with was a 50mm for the Nikon. I used to shoot Nikon, and it was the manual, and beautiful sharp lens, but pain in the arse to get portraits with.
The Nifty 50, that's what they call it, isn't it? It's like one of the best all-round lenses. I have the shittest Canon one, the 1.8 version, and I love it. I have the adapter, and sometimes, you know, when we're doing like bridal prep and all, it has a real nice close focus on it and stuff. I can get that one there. It's like a meter and something minimum focus length.
Well, funny, that camera there, the point like that's 55. It's a 1.8, and that one there, that actually is it's 75. No, it's a 70mm macro lens. And
Can it be a good macro lens?
it really is super lenses. But I also have like if I'm at a wedding, for example, the two lenses I've used most is 24 to 70 and 70 to 200, and you're just so well covered for that.
Yeah, that's what I've got too.
I could shoot a whole day just on 2047 now. I could do.
You could,
just like if you could only bring one lens or something happened, left the 2047 now. Covers you the whole way through, and then with the Sonys you get that punch in.
Yeah.
The clear zoom. So like your 70 could go to, what is it, 180 or something? Is it 140? Is it a double?
No,
Times two?
70 comes to 200 or something like that. No, I don't think it's as much as that. No,
so if you have that plus shoot 4K, then you can go on even more. So.
But Alan, you have the new Canon. What's it called?
Well,
Are you
the first mirrorless, or one of the first mirrorless Canon brought out was
how they are?
Was the R. Now they have the R5 and the R6 out.
What's yours?
They are.
They are, right.
Yeah.
How do you find that?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Is that
Brilliant.
good? Is that good?
I always say to myself, switching. I started off weddings shooting on a Nikon and Canon. The Canon 5D Mark II, and I had the two of them swinging around my neck all day long.
Do you carry two cameras on the day?
Yeah.
And what do you do that one as backup or two different lenses?
Two different lenses.
I have the same.
So what's your camera setup then?
Usually 24 to 70 and 70 to 200.
And then you the
They
same?
all lenses.
But I do have a wee, just a wee shoulder bag and maybe a couple of lenses in the flash, but like this, you know that.
Recently I bought the 135 f2
Nice.
Canon, and it is
Gorgeous.
Oh, it sounds really
Sharp.
Yeah.
I'll carry two cameras as well, but I like to have a prime on one, so I'll go 24-7 and then maybe have 85. It's like there's just a difference when you look at a prime. You just go, that's just it's a better image.
Yeah, it's a lot sharper.
It just does better. Like.
Oh, it does. 100% it does.
From the 85, the 1.4, there is a 1.8, but as well, but it's much sharper and much quicker to focus. But the 1.4, I mean, I can't imagine that at 1.2. You're telling me that would be fantastic bokeh and some of the.
But like, if you said the 1.2, it's only the eyeball in focus. You know, it's like you focus on the eye and the nose is out of focus. Like,
Do you not notice out there in some of the TV series now? That shallow, real shallow depth of field.
Yeah.
Like where they have just focused on the eyeball.
Yeah.
It was strange. You again, since I started doing the film course in particular, you know, I mean, I had always been a stickler for staying being in focus. But in video, you do actually get away
With things.
with stuff being out of focus, and it really, I think it lends itself to, you know.
Well, like when you think,
it really lends itself to that sort of moodiness.
have you watched anything prior to the year 2002? Like, I mean, it's soft. It looks soft on. You're going like.
Well, I never noticed it as much.
It looks soft, but then you put it on like a. It depends on what you watch it on as well. Like if you watch something on your phone, it's amazing what you can get away with. But then when you put that on a big 4K screen, you go, oh, that looks shit on a 4K screen. You know.
Without a doubt. You know, funny, I have a 4K TV, but I have a 4K monitor now as well. It's really really good. I mean, it's a 32-inch 4K monitor. I was using a wee laptop, and I think it was 15-inch. So I splash out a bit and buy that, and it just makes such a difference.
It does.
I mean, it really does make such a difference.
Especially for editing, like, because you just have more real estate.
Yeah.
You're not constantly flicking between toolbar. You're going, I can have everything here and everything here, and I still have memories in the middle.
Good thing about that screen too is it's BenQ one. And you can split it onto 4 as well. It's really nice. Although it's very seldom I would use that.
Is that their art series?
I have no idea.
It's like you don't have it's calibrated for photography and stuff. It's like 100% Adobe RGB calibrated or something.
The song I got there. Oh, I use the sRGB.
Right.
So most people would use it. It's very few that would use the Adobe.
So whenever you're at a shoot, is your wedding setup and your like magazine setup completely different?
For those who don't know, Gerard is also the go-to photographer for Local Woman magazine here in the area. He does,
a fair bit of Local Woman stuff right in the northwest and beyond.
and it's always very good.
Thank you. Do you know, I really enjoy the magazine stuff because it gets you out and you meet people. And, you do get some work from it as well because you meet so many people. I actually got a wedding from it last year. I was in Ballymena.
From one of the people that was shooting? Or from someone
I
that
went
worked
up
at the
to, it
magazine?
was a charity thing in Ballymena last year, and actually it's 2 years ago now. Keep forgetting this year. And the guy says, "Hey, you free on that date there?" He says, "Book us on for your wedding."
Jeez.
It was a pension age couple. It was lovely.
Can I
Very
bet
nice.
that?
Oh, right, could you?
Do you shoot commercial as well? Or are you mostly like 90% wedding?
90% wedding, but this year I really want to get into I don't know to put my teeth back in. More fine art stuff,
Right,
studio stuff.
For so what is how do you class fine art studio? Is that like portraits of and the private clients, and then, or is it like stuff that you take off models and then sell?
More of clients.
Of clients.
Yeah, like the Muller kid session.
Right. Okay. Aye.
But the way I would do it, I would maybe add flowers. I want to really try and get it more styled.
Right. Okay. Aye.
I think there's a lot more editing on the fine art stuff.
There is a lot more
you do a
editing.
fair bit more.
So did any of you boys ever consider doing like model shoots and then selling prints online, like doing even landscape shoots or?
Well, I have sold landscapes.
Have you?
I have actually had a exhibition,
Is that right?
a landscape exhibition.
That was really good, actually.
Thank you.
Landscapes of what was the theme?
Well, it was myself and Maureen McGee from
Arts and crafts sort of thing.
she's very arts and crafts. So the two of us collaborated together,
Yeah.
where she took inspiration from maybe one of my landscapes
Yeah.
and made a piece from that,
Oh, very good.
and maybe where I'd seen her piece.
And where was
And
that
maybe
held?
It was held in Gardens of Reflection up
That's
in
nice.
Derry.
Water Street there.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Up in Bishop Street. It was lovely.
I got some photographs for the magazine for that, didn't I?
I don't know, did you?
I think I got some,
I know Marie came up and photographed it that night. I don't remember you.
Jeez, maybe didn't I? I've definitely taken some stuff up there.
There used to be a photography studio on Strand Road, wouldn't it? They would do exhibitions in there. Was that a privately run one, or was it more of a
No idea.
public gallery type thing?
Don't know.
You don't remember? It was beside the Suits place. It was quite a big studio.
Oh, I think that was just a photographer, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
I forget who it was now, but I think that was.
Because I remember always seeing people and like mingling around us if there was wee events or whatever.
Possibly, I just don't know if that's. I just don't know. I don't.
Aye, well.
Hey, you really answer some of these questions.
Right. You have a whole book there. What's in your book?
Well, here.
Caroline McNulty Mills asked
Yeah.
tips on getting into photography.
That was actually the first question.
It was, yeah.
That's a good shout. Alright, Caroline. Caroline's actually a friend of Ursula's. Tips for getting on the photography? Oh my god. Just buy what you can afford. Don't be sort of putting yourself out too much, but you want to be buying, I would have thought, at least a bridge camera. Was there one reasonably good lens? And really the only thing I would suggest to you is just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot, and you will learn. Trial and error is the only way. I don't care. Now, yeah, also, I would suggest maybe like what you've done is get involved with some camera clubs.
Yeah.
Because you can learn so much from other people. I find most people are very generous with their knowledge and their time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have no problem sharing knowledge with anybody. And hey, look, try this and try that. And if they say to me, how did you do that? And the one thing I say, well, how did you get that landscape? Well, I've probably taken that shot at least 500 times before I got that photo. And they start laughing. I'm like, what do you mean? No, I mean that. I've taken that, delete, and then bang, you get one. And then you try and replicate that. That's for me. But it takes a lot of time too. I mean, to try and particularly landscape stuff. You know, you first of all, you're waiting on a weather, and I remember one time driving about an hour and a half out to West Donegal with my brother-in-law. I think that was last summer, 2019 that is, not this year. So, and it was setting off the perfect sunset, and all of a sudden these clouds came in, and we got not one photo to make it.
All that time.
So it was an hour and a half there, probably sat on a rocky beach for the best part of an hour. And then it was an hour and a half home.
But I find the getting out there and doing it.
Oh, it's great.
Out with friends. It's brilliant.
So how do you recommend then? So say you've spent 7 to 10 months getting a wee bit of knowledge about you, fair idea how to work your camera and take a photo. How do you then go about getting your first client?
Well, I think your client will come to you.
Really?
Yeah. Well, that's what happened to me. I mean,
that's how we grown.
Just approach you out of nowhere, like just.
Someone just says, "Hey, look, I've seen your stuff. Would you take a couple of family shots?" And Gerard actually approached me. Would he ever handle the wedding? And that's what happened to me. I mean, if she works good enough, I just think
build it and they will come.
Yeah. I think
we actually went on one of Jay Doherty's.
Workshops. Workshops are great for people too. I mean,
for learning their skills.
Yeah,
for networking and stuff too.
Networking's very good too. I mean, you get sort of second shooting jobs as well. You mind them with other photographers, maybe videographers too. Because Jay's done a wee bit of video too.
Do you guys ever recommend working for free?
Starting off,
I've done a couple of second shooting jobs that were for free, and then I think they said that most of them will throw you a few bob just to cover costs, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, there's a few guys recently. One guy in particular was on one of them Facebook pages where he was actually charging less experienced photographers to come out on a date with him. Now that really did get a lot of people going the wrong way. There's pros and cons of it.
So it was like, I need people to help me shoot something, and then they would have to pay.
They were looking for experience. They were looking.
No, yeah. In fairness,
was it like a workshop or was it just like
no? It's just proper. He cleared it with his bride and groom all first, so he did.
He's taking a chance on.
And he's a very good photographer too, so he's definitely talented.
So,
but it's also up to yourself if you want to pay another photographer to go out and second shoot for him. But it's always better the photographer paying you to go out. When I started out, I started out second shooting. I would text Catherine McKenzie. She's a wedding photographer.
You have your microphone round the wrong way. I was wondering why your sound was low.
Is it okay now?
No. See the logo? You have to talk into the logo.
Unclip it.
Logo, where are they?
Nice and loud.
Oh, what about me?
You're alright.
Well, you can boost that up afterwards, but can't you?
But it's just like night and day now. I've got it. Anyway.
So do I sound more attractive now?
You remember that real deep voice you're talking about? Yeah. You've got it. Right, we have to cut seamlessly on what we were talking about before.
So
Catherine McKenzie.
So how I got started was I texted another photographer called Catherine McKenzie. She was doing a model workshop at the time. And I was looking experience in using flash in studios So I texted her more or less saying, "Hi, how are you? Do you mind if I come along to your workshop? I love your work. I would love to come along, get more experience in studio photography, and I'm willing to go get buns, make the tea, coffee." No, I'm alright. Thanks, Gerard.
We have to interrupt. I'm really sorry, right? But
Am I boring you?
the noise of your mic's horrendous. See, whenever you're like, and then you start shooting.
You were complaining a moment ago because there was no noise, and now I'm making noise. I can't. I want here.
No, but I was like, it's just a real like. It's just. That's all
You know what you're going to do now? You're probably going to record that sound and use it, aren't you?
As the background music.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. Don't. You're tuning it. Well, you're tuning it now. I was going to say. Golden rule.
Yes, that.
Don't touch your gun when you're recording.
When you're recording, don't do chewing gum like.
Talking about funny things, have you ever seen Gerard's funny camera face?
Oh, aye.
Oh, he does that.
Everybody does that, you know. I think.
Everybody's got that.
I can't touch him either, right?
No, you.
I was touching the wires. I really good. He gave me a ball again. Did you notice that? Did you see that?
You were. It wasn't the. You can touch the wires. It was you were doing this here with your cup. You're tapping the desk.
I thought I was touching the wires.
And then it rattles through the microphone. Right, look. Second episode, guys. Yeah. We're getting there, right? We're getting there. Once we learn not to chew in the microphone.
Or tap cups.
Gerard beatboxes in the background. Right, we're good. Anyway, sorry.
Where were we?
We were talking about
Catherine McKenzie. Poor Catherine.
For the third time.
Poor Catherine, you know.
Sorry about these two boys, Catherine.
Corey Tower.
Anyway, she invited me.
That was a throwback joke they last 2 weeks ago when we were talking about Jared's clock in the wrong time. It's still the wrong time. Never mind.
Well, we're just trying to have a bit of summertime, you see.
Right.
Just trying to, that's all. Yeah.
So Catherine McKenzie.
Take 4.
I'll get the story out to you.
Right, okay. Go.
I can't make eye contact her all on.
Okay.
Right, anyway, Catherine would give me the first opportunity, so she did the second shoot because I asked, or did she need help along with that studio workshop? So there on the day, I ran, got the buns, helped her make coffee, took a pressure off her, her workshop, you know what I mean, let her be with, I was a model workshop she was doing along with Rosemary Wright. And so at the time she just happened to be looking for a second shooter. So she asked me to come along. And that leads into my first wedding with Catherine. Or what was it? Stephen McGill asked what was the funniest experience you ever had in photography?
Oh dear, there's a few of these that maybe we can't talk about. Funniest experience.
I'll go ahead on. You take us away.
In that first wedding I did along with Catherine, there was this little old lady, and I'll never forget her. I was in snapping away, and as I was taking her picture, she goes, "Yeah, I know you." And I go, "Right, who are you?" She said, "I seen you, last time I seen you were coming out of McGabbery prison." That's only because I had the head shaved.
Gee.
Oh God!
And I was like, "What do you say that?"
Suddenly all families putting away their jewelry and stuff. Oh Jesus, photographer.
And by the way, I have never been on McGabbery prison. She was just having a wee giggle. I find when you get the...
Did Stephen ask what was the best and the worst, was it?
Yeah.
I genuinely...
He also asked what is the future for photography and videography with the emerging technology. So I'll share one experience when it says about what's the worst and the best. And I think I was sharing it with you guys before this conversation. And for me, I was at a wedding once where...
Is this the best or worst?
It's both happened on the one, where one of the groomsmen got absolutely hammered on the morning of the wedding, and he made a complete arse of himself at the service. So from that point of view, it was just cringeworthy. I'm wanting an hour. And eventually we got back to the hotel, and he went to his room and never came back. So he must have family photos, and he must all the photos. So at the same time, it was great. If that makes sense, some sort of a weird sort of way, but it was because he wasn't there. It made it easier, but it's just very difficult to pin it down to what's the worst and what's the best. But I always do remember that one experience.
I genuinely don't think I've had anything that's been like a standout. That's a funny moment, or that's a horrendous moment. I don't think I've had anything like that.
Yeah, well, I suppose there's been that many. There's probably ones we just can't talk about. So a lot of funny things tend to happen in the morning of a wedding. And I suppose there's been a few funny things in magazine work too. But
the things I've had, they're not like, it's general crack and banter.
Yeah.
But there's no like, no one's fallen over or broken something or camera wise or. I mean, I've heard stories of others. I'm not going to mention it because they're so specific that everyone's going to know who it is. But like I've heard for some, there are some horrendous stories. Like, and Gerard's laughing because he knows the woman.
That's why I have to hammer that. There was one story that is just
one in particular, and I know right now that everybody's listening's going, "Oh, what are you talking about this?" It's like one of those things. Oh, this big secret, I can't tell you.
Well, if we did.
Well, you can.
No. I think if either of us talked about that, it's not worth the hassle. So
and this is not us slagging people off. This is just us.
No, it was just very funny. It was funny.
It's nothing like it wasn't anything that somebody did that was like technically bad, or it wasn't like a professional mess up. It was just like
something happened that shouldn't happen, really. But
did I get let onto the secret after?
Oh, once we start recording.
So, but.
But no, I apologize.
I think the rest of that question was the future photography with just modern technology. I think the future's good.
I find with the face tracking and eye detection now, it's a lot easier.
Well, that's a good point, because that's what I was going to ask you, Sam. What is the advancements in photography in particular that are making life better for you?
Well, they autofocus on the Sony system makes life so much easier. I know a few people who went from, say, Canon on Nikon to Nikon, to Nikon, from Nikon to Canon to...
I should on Nikon,
to Sony, and just... No, like that there, they say, oh my God, I mean, there's so many higher percentage of photos that are actually in focus.
You don't have to focus and then recompose your shot.
Yeah.
Anymore, you just compose your shot and let the face tracking focus.
That is good for that. I wouldn't know enough about video for it, but it does seem to work well on video too.
For video, the advancements are, again, focus. I mean, I've shot most of my things on manual focus, but there are certain times, for example, if you have a gimbal, you can't pull focus and shoot on a gimbal, so you have to rely on autofocus.
Yeah.
And for now, like it's getting the new Sony's, the eye tracking and stuff, it's getting to the point where it's actually pretty like it never misses pretty much. As long as you can make out a face, it pretty much never misses, and it's as good, if not better, than most people's ability to judge by the screen if it's in focus or not.
Yeah.
And that's my experience. But like for video, other than the fact that I apologize for the noisy mic, mine is awful here, guys. Other than the fact that the form factor is changing, that they're getting smaller. When you're shooting small things like weddings, that's fantastic, because for us video guys, we can go handheld more. The in-body stabilization is great.
Yeah.
But like it gets to the point where cameras are getting so small now that when you're shooting commercially, sometimes you feel a wee bit like, the new Sony we were discussing earlier is like nearly a £5,000 camera, but it's a small mirrorless camera. It's phenomenal, but if you showed up on set to like a professional commercial video shoot with that, we'll look at it and go like, where's the rest of it?
Yeah.
If we're paying you thousands of pounds, they're expecting this big massive camera.
When I first, I wouldn't say right on the scene, but I was probably one of the first around here who was shooting Sonys. And people would just look at it because it's murderous. Is that it? You know, it just looks like a wee pocket compared to some of them massive cameras, you know.
Sony was the first to kick off the murders.
Yeah.
They were ahead of the game.
They're quite funny. I enjoy those wee like memes and stuff that were on the internet, and it's like, you know, the client still hasn't noticed. And what it was this big tripod, and it had this big matte box and this big ND filter and a big V-Pack battery, and like they were like, this is a class. But in the middle of it was just an iPhone, and it was just sitting brilliant. It was like, you know,
that's the thing. Clients don't see all that. It's just us as photographers.
Yeah.
It's like gear acquisition syndrome. We need all the new gear, all the shiny stuff. It's coming out.
And it just slows you down. Like I used to use a gimbal all the time at the start when they first came out, and it was a thing. Use a gimbal, look at this. And now I'm like, when I look at a gimbal shot, I'm like, it's very robotic looking. You know, it looks, you know, it's that.
But strange there also too, you know, I mean, I find myself, I mean, like the first wedding I went to, I had half the house with me, everything with me. I mean, I'm pretty much now, I mean, I probably could go with a 20-40-70 and get everything I need, and I would just have a speed light. If push came to shove.
The only thing that makes it difficult, I have like two setups. I have like a during the day setup, and then once the meet is over and we get it on, then I have a second setup which is like for dances. So then I have to break out like the big recorder that plugs into the DJ desk. Then I've got the lights that go on the dance floor for the first dance. Then I've got the gimbal for the dance. But like after the first dance, then I'm basically back to handheld. I get on the dance floor with them, shooting away again.
Oh, you get away with it on the dance floor. Although those things are great, the monopods are really, really good. I mean, I've seen a couple of videographers with those. I mean, just because that one swings about, and they really are great.
Yeah.
But then the stabilisation helps you in the dance floor when you're handheld, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I like that. Like, you know, I don't mind the shakiness
I
of the
think
cameras, or it depends on what it's for. If you're in for dancing and you see like shit,
it's more natural.
It's natural. It feels a part of it. But if you're like shooting a detail shot of the bride getting their makeup on and the camera shaky as fuck, it doesn't look right. You know, there's no. It's like supposed to be this elegant, smooth picture, and all of a sudden there's jitter on it, and you're like, that throws off the viewer. Yeah. So there's times for it, like. But
I'm just conscious of time here too, because let's see. The other one in our question was Patrick Sadowski. Have you ever dealt with burnout and how to deal with it? And also the moment where you're in the right place at the right time. Not to be repeated shot for each of you. Be good if you saw some samples, but we don't have any samples.
I do. I was
do
organised.
Do you? The only one thing I can ever think about being in the right place at the right time was there was so we had, I think it's 2 years ago, and was up in Craig and Chapel, and it was a shocker of a day. It was just like rain. You know that 12-hour muzzle? It was rain. And the bride she was really, and I said, look, we get some nice shots. She came out, and all of a sudden it cleared, and she was on a wee bit of a chat with family and friends outside, and all of a sudden in the corner of my eye I spied this rainbow coming up, and looked over the video game. We our eyes sort of met in the middle, you know, and she was going, wait, she was blowing over. She says, we need you now. She went, and I went, no. And she came with us and her then husband, and we got this picture of the two of them, just a few pictures of embracing and a wee kiss, and this massive, gorgeous, really strong rainbow over the top of them. Yeah. And I was able to show her the photo of that, and do you know what? See, for the rest of the day, she didn't care because of that one photo. And for me, that's that one. And as for burnout, no. I get a great buzz off doing that, particularly weddings and any sort of photography work. I'm very blessed to be doing something I really, really love and I'm passionate about.
I have a wee bit of burnout, like I get that every now and again. But I think it's just because there's more, not that there's more effort in shooting videos, but there kind of is more effort in shooting videos. Like I go on the wee phases of like my Instagram, and I'll post regularly for ages, but I'll not just videos using your phone, but I'll create a video using the camera, and I'll edit it and post it as a story, and it takes all day because you have to think of a start, a middle, and an end, and then you're trying to follow it the whole way through. You're telling a story the whole way through. Then you have to edit it. Sometimes I admire photographers that can just go capture it and go done, and then you're like, oh fuck, I wish I could do that. But I remember.
But sometimes it takes. It takes a lot of experience and a lot of must shots to be able to. And you'll agree that you just can't go along and just bang, take a shot, and that's it.
You were saying
you had to know.
Right place, right time. I shot a wedding with you probably last...
I'm just looking for these other questions.
Last time. It was in Redcastle. And there was one shot. You were just in the right place at the right time. The bride and groom were coming in the entrance. And we were all...
Oh, as the stairs?
And you were the stairs. And you were firing away, right? And just as they were doing the champagne, a Wayne put its bubble out. They cheers the bride.
Yes.
And the bride...
remember that shot.
Do you remember that shot?
Yes.
He was just firing, and all of a sudden the bobo and the glass, the flute met, and I was like, Gerard, you had to get that. He's like, I got that shot.
Got it. And it's strange, because without even looking at the footage, you just know. And you're sitting there and you look through the VV footage, and oh yes, I got it.
Yeah.
So
that was the day a wasp stung me just above the gentleman's region. Do you remember? A wasp was on my belt, and I was wondering. I don't know, it just kind of flew on. And I was like, something weird, and then I noticed that, and I just felt this big pain, and people I guess must have been going, who's this boy? But I was thumping my butts, trying to kill this wasp stuck on my waistband. And
I actually don't remember that,
Do you know?
It's probably like said about getting that shot.
Probably showing all your friends.
Yeah. Talking about your Instagram, Simon, I watched a wee video later tonight called Date Night.
Oh, that was me and Gerard's. Remember we went out flying a drone over at... Was that Dunluce?
That was in Dunluce. I was like... I looked at this video.
Hey, that was great crack, that day. He actually, for everybody, I'm no problem taking pictures on a camera, but you see these things, they try and take photos on selfies and stuff. I'm useless, and then of course I'm on that Instagram. I'm going, I'm useless at taking photos, but of course he cut out the part where it says on the phone.
So I was wondering, he was like, oh, you can hear with Gerard, like the professional photographer. Jesus, I'm shy at taking photos. And I was like, cut. I was like, I'm going to use that soundbite.
Can I find the questions on the things?
My right moment, right time shot would be and again I'm going to say this wrong, pierced. I can't even say it.
Pierced shirt.
A meteor shirt.
Yeah.
So it was down bottom of the temple, and it must have been about 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Standing in the big field inside Mizuno, and meteors everywhere. And everywhere I pointed my camera, the meteor was in the opposite direction. And then the one shot I got was it just flying over the top of the temple.
Oh, lovely.
But my focus was slightly out.
Sure, we can.
You get away with that in one of those photos, but
I know.
You could cheat a wee bit too and take part of the other guy and put it on him.
But it was more you as the photographer felt, and because I get that sometimes, even though you know the client or anyone else will never pick up on something, but you know yourself.
And we do cheat now and again, and I know sometimes that you've always that one child, who's like they got there, and yes, and you just need to have an hour photo from some other part, and you just take the face out and you pop it on. So
have you face swapped photos? Have you?
Oh, sometimes you have to, so yeah.
Jeez, no. See, that'd be class, man, do that on video. Some video if they're just sitting. Why the fuck am I going to take that face out? You're picking your nose on that shit, that's how it is.
Yeah, well.
That's class.
So.
No, but I've never, Jesus, maybe I'm not as experienced as I thought. I've never been right place, right time that I can recall off the top of my head. Nor.
That's on my shot.
Well, but that was a photo. That was a perfect photo, but it didn't work well on video.
Didn't it?
No, it was just like. I think that was a real photo moment. There's some things that are just like that's a photo moment, but don't come across in video. Like you would always think, runners when they cross the finish line and they do this, and you see the fucking confetti everywhere. That's a photo. It's called a photo finish. That's a photo finish. You just capture it and you go, oh, that's just fucking class.
Well, I think that's...
But when you watch it, like, they just run through and then they go off the side and drink their water, you're like, oh, it doesn't
I
come
think,
across
like we were chatting there, when I was chatting about video, when you have the sound and the build-up and that big crescendo and then bang, that I think to me that's about video, whereas with stills, you just capture that moment in time and like that wee dummy shot, those sort of things, I think, that's a great shot, so...
But in terms of, like, video, like... I have to specifically set something up for me to go, that was a class shot. You know, like, because naturally during the day of like a wedding or something, not a lot happens where I'm like shooting it and something amazing happens naturally and I'm like, oh, I can't believe I got that. You know, it's not that type of thing.
There was a wedding that I was second shooting on, and it was Liam. Liam was there, he was doing video, and we were both second shooting, and I was doing on Tom, and I don't know, Tom was slagging me off about the crack that we have with the boys. And I mean, the photos and everything was so much crack. I mean, it really was bonkers. It was a bonkers day. And I can only imagine that Liam had as much fun as I had in recording that for a video. I mean, it really was. It was nuts. I mean, they really were off for the crack. You know, they stuck down to their pants, you know, for photos and stuff.
No, was
you? Was Liam was there too, wasn't he?
I don't think so. He came down and he had the best man pants and all on or something.
Was that you?
That was me and you.
I must have a two then, because there was one of the empty days, there was one of the shots was the one.
These were like, it was a nice big house.
Oh shoot, was that you?
It was me,
you know,
I remember.
Apologies, Liam.
Should be apologising to Simon, not Liam.
You don't know Liam.
Also, I apologise to everybody else. Then it turns out I have been in the right place, right time. I just didn't remember about it.
Do you remember that morning? Aye. That was the same.
Aye.
That was like that all day. And do you remember? Do you remember the crack for the? Do you remember we went down to the hotel? We walked down to the lake beside the hotel.
Aye, they got in the boats.
That was completely nuts. I mean, it was just like. What happened? I said, what doesn't happen?
They had a wee bit too much to drink.
Aye, there was a fair bit of booze involved.
That was Crover House in Cal.
It was Oma first, wasn't it? Was it Oma? Aye, that was the morning. Was that the morning the dog? Remember the dog at our house?
That's right. The bride's parents, wasn't it, or the groom's parents had these dogs, and they were children, and they had paid somebody to come and watch the dogs, and whoever it was lifted the dogs, put them in the van, and then took them out for a walk. But when they got to the forest, the dogs ran off.
Really felt for the woman. She was really traumatized by it, you know.
And she was like, "I have to leave the wedding and go get these dogs." And we were like, "Do what you gotta do."
We should get them. It was, but that day in particular, that was. I mean, the crack that you must have had looking back.
Was that Crover House? Is that what you call that place? Crover House? It was a long drive, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think someone Cavan.
Because you kept me awake on the way home.
I've never been known to talk a lot, so talked up, I guess, a lot of shit on the way home just to keep me awake. So.
But I know that was good. And so the bridal party had too much to drink, and they were just up for the laugh, and we saw these wee boats. And they just were in no fit shape to be on the water. So they got on the water, didn't they?
Yeah.
Bridesmaids and all.
So, and then there was that much innuendo and one thing that day. I mean, it was just flipping hell. So
I think I remember at one point, like, I'm going to have to just turn my microphone off here because I can't record none of this shit. I wonder if Liam was there that day. I think he was. I think there was 4 of us. I think there was 2 videographers and 2 photographers.
Yeah, they're definitely. Well, Donald was down there.
And I remember I don't remember. I was like just footing about taking candid shots of the guests and stuff. And I remember like they were just like they just say it how it is. And one of the guests, it was a big country fella. He was like, "What's going on?" Because there was cameras everywhere. Like there was 4 of us all around. And the boy goes, "It must have been fucking buy one get one free with these videographers." So I just started laughing. I was like, "Okay," and turn away. Must be fucking buy one get one free with these cameramen.
But you can't. I mean, again, they're back to weddings again. But that morning, that whole day was great fun.
That was a fun day. It was a long journey, but it was a fun day.
So
I know. It turns out I'm a complete liar. Then there is times where I've just been there and it's been a great crowd.
Well, I think sometimes you just go there and you're on the zone and you just.
My wife will be. She can fully attest to the fact that my memory is shocking. I don't remember names. I don't remember scenarios or situations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that's generally a man thing, but
I'm awful. Like I am really awful. There's times where people are like, "Simon," and then they'll wave, and I'll go, "Buddy, pal," and as soon as I say "buddy" or "pal," then they know I've forgotten the name.
I don't even know what to call a bloody camera sometimes. Or I called it what last week?
DLSR.
DLSR.
DSLR. Should it be?
Your DLA camera. I got a DLA SRE.
What are questions? There was one there.
Let's try and get all the
There was
questions.
one there about Hamish had asked one about retail. And I know the only thing for retail shops that you can buy here in terms of camera gear would be like an SD card.
Mm-hmm.
But that is it. It's just a pity that there isn't any other.
We
Used to be one on foil. Say, what do you call it?
Jessups. We used to have a Jessups.
Jessups used to be on. Yeah, I used to enjoy going on and.
Having a look around.
No, I didn't actually. I just buy the odd bit of gear. Like, you know, we did have the Sony Centre, of course, too.
Yeah.
Which does sell. Which I would have bought all my stuff on.
Which is closed down now.
They're closed now too, but they do have one. There's two in Belfast. Well, Belfast, Newton Ards. There's one in Letterkenny, so not too far away.
That one called Ballymena. Is it Ballymena?
I have no idea.
Camera Plus? Or?
There's a couple, but they're all spread out. But in terms of gear nowadays, if I was to buy something, I hate to say it like, but I'm going to get it online, pretty much.
Oh, I was still, if it was Sony stuff, I would always try the lads in the Sony Centres first.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm being honest, they are competitive.
Oh yeah.
A strange. There's I know what one you're
Camera
like.
Plus and Quick Time.
There was a guy on one of those Facebook things a few weeks ago, and because they can't post batteries from GB, you know, and everything. And it was for the new Sony A7 III batteries. And he said, I can't get one. And I said, did you try the Sony Centre in Belfast? And the guy was from Belfast. And he messaged me, he says, thanks very much. He says, why did I not think of that?
I know. Because it is
And
strange.
he loves
something
he
that you
actually
don't
loves
think
in
about.
Belfast. So,
Oh, I got 8 batteries on with my Canon ESR from China. Posted.
Duracell, the big manufacturer of batteries, Duracell, sell a lot of camera batteries, and I use a lot of Duracell camera batteries. See that uses the old battery technology that is shit. So on a wedding day, I have like 12 batteries with me, and they're pretty much all Duracell, like, and they're as good as.
2 batteries I would use in a day.
Is that right?
Yeah.
See, I have a big power bank. I have that power bank with me. Chargers, dual chargers.
Well, I always have 3 with me now, just in case.
But I'm
Very, very seldom I've ever had to go into that. And I've always maybe just thought, okay, I'll just put it on just in case. But you know right now that you would have been alright.
I'm always as soon as 2 come out, they go on the charger. 2 fresh ones go on.
No. Any other questions? Because time is running on.
I think that's more or less it.
Is that it? We will eventually. We haven't quite got the logistics down to getting the guests done. We need extra microphones, and we'll probably need to set up another camera.
And
But
We need some
lockdown
restrictions.
Lockdown.
Fuck
So we're recording this now on Wednesday. So as of Friday, we're going to be out of business for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then we'll pick up after the restrictions ease off, and hopefully get another one out before Christmas.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
That's about right now. How are we for time? Do you want to call it there now? Or is there anything anybody else wants to have a yak about?
Alan, are we forgetting anything? You're the man with the notes.
Yep.
We've answered all the questions, have we?
Yep. Talked about camera gear and answered their questions. And
Happy
had a bit of
days.
crack.
Right.
Yeah.
Well then, if anybody else, you don't have anything?
No, I think in terms of camera stuff, we're all caught up. And Alan definitely weren't as nervous this time.
No, I gotta say, he was good. After the 6th intro take, you really nailed it down. But right, well, we'll wrap it up then.
Yes.
Yep.
Cool. Anybody has anything to say, leave it in the comments. We'll answer all the questions. And we'll see you
I
in
think
a
we
couple
better
of weeks.
double check and just. There's something.
Can I say thank you?
What a Dale? No, Dale asked a question. Dale asked a question.
Sorry, Dale.
Who makes the sweetest cameras? Dell is a Nikon shooter, but he's in the process of going Fuji mirrorless.
All right.
So yes.
Right.
So, he
Dale,
sorta had-
buy yourself a Sony.
He sort of had a wee cough, like who has got
Jump on
the.
a burning bus, they'd go on to a derailing train there. Get yourself a Sony.
Buy a Sony.
Buy a Sony.
Buy a Sony.
Canon.
Oh.
I've tried to convert him to Canon, but there's no chance.
He's a photographer, is he?
Yes, yeah.
Fuji do nice cameras, like they do nice cameras. They're XT.
There is no bad cameras nowadays.
Yeah. It's all crop sensors. They don't have full sensor, don't they?
I don't know.
No, I don't think they do.
Is there XT series crop?
They're all crop sensors, I think.
Really?
Any Fuji users out there, you can correct me. I'm not too sure, but I think they're all crop sensors. I think.
You have to, if you're not, it's 2021 camera, buy Sony.
Yeah.
Buy Sony.
But Canon's caught up with Sony now. The only thing Canon...
But it's probably a Sony sensor on the Canon.
Eh?
It's probably a Sony sensor inside the Canon.
Could be. I'm not going to argue.
I think it's the only thing that held them back for a while was their low light.
Canon?
Canon low light. They weren't great.
I can't comment here, lads, because I've always been Sony.
Because I started Canon. Started in the 70D and then the Mark IIIs, and low light performance is shit, just awful. But I've never tried the new full frame mirrorless now, I've got to say. But so apparently they are good.
They are.
But in terms of autofocus,
Well, all joking aside,
Compared
some
to
of the
the-
stuff that you get on is lovely.
Yeah. Compared to the A7 III, the EOS R is just as good, but it doesn't have animal eye tracking.
is that the only downside?
That's
And it's
the
got
only
one
downside.
SD card slot.
And one SD card slot. But
Yeah.
the way I work around that, I change my SD cards regularly. So after morning preparations, SD card comes out, a fresh one goes out.
But then you're still either going to lose half your day no matter what. You only lose the first half.
You only going to lose
That's just.
If
That's
you change
just,
them regularly,
We
you
don't want to even talk
Right,
about that.
no,
We don't
we're
want
not
to
gonna.
attempt it now.
I'm saying that, like, my Sony has one SD card slot.
Well, strange, before the A7 III came out, they didn't, Sony, they're so tight, they just let no secrets out. And whatever was released, there was always still going to be one SD card slot. So if that hadn't had, I would have been forced to buy the A9. But once the double slot came on, that was a game changer for so many people.
The new full sensor A7
See?
is supposed
Yeah.
to be an A7 III, but smaller,
Yeah.
with better autofocus. The new improved
I
autofocus.
haven't really seen any about that,
So-
but next time I'm around Belfast, I'll probably call in and see if.
I mean, that could be a great second camera. Like,
But then a lot of guys use the 6000 series, the 6200, 300, 400.
I would use those for my B&C cams for weddings.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause
Great
they're
cameras.
Sling them over your shoulder, stick it down the back somewhere,
Yeah.
set it and forget it.
Stuck in your pocket.
They're great cameras. It's really difficult now actually to get a bad camera. If you bought any modern camera, it's hard to say that that's a shit camera.
I sort of zoned out there, boys, when you said Sony.
Right?
Okay. Right.
Well, we've answered all the questions.
Well, thank.
We think.
Thank
Alan,
you,
do you want to sign us off?
I'd just like to say thanks to everyone who watched us on YouTube, over 250 views.
Aye, absolutely. And that's fancy.
I don't think we get 50, never mind 250.
I think my wife is 149 of them.
Yeah.
And Gerard's the other 100. But so there's at least 6 unique account
Yeah.
views. But no, it was really good. And all the comments seemed all good feedback. We didn't have any terrible feedback, which is good.
No.
But we're open to criticism.
And please leave comments and ask questions, whatever you want.